Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here inside of Lindsey Nelson Stadium with our Around the Horn following Tennessee's sweep of Missouri. Back-to-back 3-2 wins since we last spoke, and Tennessee would have liked to have had more production offensively, but nice to know that, and we already knew this, but you saw it again this weekend, you can get it done on the mound and defensively.
Yeah, Ben, as we said Friday, we weren't going to be there for the game Saturday. We were both at a colleague's wedding, and so just kind of patched together what we could from that game, seeing what you could, some video here and there, reading stuff and other things, and it seemed like, Thursday was the offense, Friday it was the defense, and today for the sweep it was the pitching. And so you can look at it and say, yeah, baseball is more fun when your team's scoring 10, 12 runs a game and ruling people and stuff like that. But if you can't do that, it's nice to have a feather in the cap to know that you can win close games, because you get to, later the next few weeks, especially you get into the postseason, you got to win games that way. You just do. And this ballpark plays bigger when the wind's blowing in like it is now. Hopefully these things are taking these wind protectors are keeping the wind out of the audio. But you're going to have games like that. And so when Tennessee got into one like that, a couple of them to win it, it's big.
Absolutely, and Kavaris Tears had a great diving catch yesterday in Game 2, but I do want to point out Drew Beam was terrific yesterday while we were at that wedding.
True.
Today, I thought the pitching staff was really good. I thought Kirby Connell was the best, and Aaron Combs was really good. Up until that point, it was, I thought, solid pitching. Xander Seacrest had to work out of trouble here and there, but also had a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings. Nate Snead came in and got some big outs as well, and then you just kind of handed it over to the bullpen. And at the time, I was surprised that Aaron Combs was pulled as early as he was. And Tony liked the matchups going into that top of the 8th against back-to-back switch hitters for Missouri. And Kirby looked as good as he's looked all season. Those last 2 innings to complete a 2-inning save for his 3rd of the season.
Yeah, doing what we do sometimes, you think about, so much of coaching now is building a roster and recruiting and getting personalities and getting the vibes right. But fundamentally, at the end of the day, coaches are paid for results. And those results also come from the decisions that you make during games. And Vitello had a couple of really tough ones to make too, with Frank Anderson not here, dealing with a family situation. Unfortunately, thoughts to him and his family. It's, even when you take Snead out, right, that seems at the time like probably what you should do. There's also a decent argument that you should wait because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how many arms you're going to have. And then when you take Combs out, that's definitely a tough call, because Connell had been really good against those 2 switch hitters last night also. But that also, as a coach, sometimes you think, well, does that mean they've seen him now, so now they're going to get up to speed on him? So, which has been, Kirby's problem in the past at times. So those are tough decisions to make, but at the end of the day, you win the game. You got them spot on.
Absolutely, and again, Tennessee offensively throughout the course of the weekend, I'm sure didn't play to the level that it absolutely wanted to. Left some runs on the field the last 2 games, but at the end of the day, this was a weekend. If you want to go win an SEC championship and firmly plant your flag, Tennessee's, unless the wheels just completely fall off, they're going to host a regional. But to be a top 8 national seed and continue to plant your flag in the top 8 discussion, and right now Tennessee's in the top half of the top 8 to host a super regional if they were to make it through regional weekend. This was a series against one of the teams at the bottom of the standings that you had to sweep, quite frankly, on your field, and you did that.
Yeah, but fast forward, there could be a time where you're playing like a Wright State or somebody here in a regional, and they throw their ace at you in the first game, and this guy's going to be a high-round draft pick or mid-round draft pick. He gets you off balance. He's good. You're in a 3-2 game. Anything can happen. That's absolutely what could happen in a regional or even a super regional game here, depending on what happened in the first week. So, yeah, I think that is important. Like, you have to tip your cap. Other guys sometimes, at the end of the day, good pitching will usually win, even with metal. Like, not always, but it will win a lot of times. I think Tennessee's hitters, I never thought they switched off mentally. I thought their approach, even in the bats that didn't look good, they were trying to make adjustments. They were trying, probably thinking too much, actually.
Yeah.
And you could tell they just weren't on balance. They were guessing fastball and got slider, guessing slider, got changeup, guessing changeup, got fastball. They just had been scouted well, and the other team threw well, and they didn't have a lot of success. But at the end of the day, your team wins the game.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's also SEC baseball.
Yes.
Which is not for the faint of heart. And speaking of tough scheduling, back-to-back weekend trips to Florida and Vanderbilt. Florida, a little odd outside of Jack Caglione, but still a rivalry series, still on the road in the swamp, and then a big series at Vanderbilt over Mother's Day weekend, a rivalry series. So good to pick up 3 wins when you can and when you should, quite frankly.
Get them in the bank when you can, right? I mean, get them
Absolutely.
in the bank. They don't count any less now than they do then. Because I might be insane.
Well, you are.
Well, okay, given I'm insane. But also, I'm not the only person who's been sitting there all season looking at Florida saying, talent's still there. The talent's still there. And maybe it just is one of those years where things just don't come together. But that team's got pitchers who are going to get drafted. It's got hitters who are going to get drafted. It's got defensive players who are going to get drafted. There's talent. It's Florida. There's talent all over that place. And, Cag's one of the most talented college baseball players of this generation, probably. So, it's that team could go on a run and get to the postseason. It still has that kind of talent. So you just, it's kind of like when you play a team like that, I think of it as kind of like a hand grenade. Like, it's going to come to you at some point. Just toss it to the next week. You don't want it to blow up while you're holding it. Hot potato, get rid of it. Go down there, get what you can, try to get that series before that team could maybe get going, because it could.
It absolutely could, and we'll have plenty of coverage whether they do or do not when Tennessee goes down there. And of course, we have plenty of coverage coming out of Tennessee's sweep of Missouri. Up at the site at GoVols 24/7. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.